Hello, welcome to the second ever Addams Family Podcast. My name is Riley Holmes. I'm playing Lucas Beinecke. Today I am with Lydia Meredith and Trey Brazina.
Hello.
All right, hey you guys, what's up? So yes, this is the second episode. So would you like to introduce yourself, say your name, your grade, and who you play in the musical?
I'm Lydia Meredith. I'm a junior, and I'm playing Wednesday Addams.
I'm Trey Brazina. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm Pugsley Addams.
All right. So after auditions, how were auditions?
Very nerve-wracking, scary.
Yeah, how were auditions for you, Trey? This was your first audition process. Like, how was it?
I think it was probably about a week or two before they actually happened. I'm like, that might be cool to do. So I just went out there. I was clueless. So I kind of just did whatever I was told.
Yeah, your audition was pretty cool. But yeah, so.
Trey's was great. For an 8th grader, Trey
Oh, yeah.
audition.
Yeah. Every time I hear him sing, it's spot on. Did you get the part you guys auditioned for?
Yeah. This was like the only, I wouldn't say main, but the only main character you could have had in 8th grade. So.
Yeah, was that or ensemble, right?
Yeah.
All right. Did you?
Yes, I got it. I studied for this role very hard because whenever I found out we were doing the Addams Family, she's like, Wednesday is like literally like one of my dream characters. So, and the musical's a lot different than like the movies. So I like looked up everything I could and like prepared for the audition. And it went as planned.
Yeah, I can remember when they announced it, you freaked out because I knew you were going for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Honestly, we fit the parts the best. So, what is your favorite part about your character, and why is this? This is kind of a deep question, but we're diving into the characters of Pugsley, Lucas, and Wednesday of this episode.
Okay. Well, I think my favorite thing about Wednesday is that, like, in the musical, with her being different than, like, the movies, she's not, like, your typical, like, Wednesday that you would think. I mean, she's still in there, but it's a very different plot than most of, like, the Addams Family movies. So it's been interesting to play that version of Wednesday.
Yeah, honestly, with Lucas, he's a new character. So personally, I get to dive in and kind of create him myself, so to say. So, yeah, I honestly really like how I'm starting to create Lucas, and I keep seeing little bits and pieces of me in there, and it's really neat. What about you, Trey?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What's your favorite part about Puggles and why?
Okay. Honestly, he's kind of different than, like, everybody else. He's kind of, I don't know how to describe it.
So you like him because he's different?
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. Like, it's not just, like, it's not a bad thing that he's different. Yeah, I can see what you mean. He's a different kid. He's weird.
I mean, the way Mr. Holmes described it to us is, like, me and Trey have some scenes together, and the Addams Family kids are not your normal average kids. I mean, they enjoy torture and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Wednesday gets to torture Pugsley, and I think that, like, we have a good brother-sister dynamic. So it's been interesting to do that.
So you guys were with Mr. Holmes for character development. What was the hardest? What has been the hardest part about your character? Like developing your character, acting out the scenes. What's been the hardest part about acting as Wednesday or Puggles?
But the thing for me is I feel like sometimes when we're doing scenes and stuff, I feel like I'm almost acting too much like myself, and I need to put more Wednesday into it. So, like, separating myself from Wednesday and actually, like, acting as her and, like, how she's feeling and putting those emotions into the scenes is, like, the biggest thing that I've been trying to focus on with practice.
I mean, I'm going to say it's all difficult in some sort of way, because what I've done in the past is, like, nothing even remotely close to this, because it's, like, you stood there and read and then sing separately. Yeah. It's a very different learning process. I mean, Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this is your third show? What has been different than Grease and Broadway and Song for you?
Well, it's definitely been different now that we obviously have a different director, Mr. Holmes. I mean, Mrs. Harrison and Mr. Holmes are both great. But I think a big difference this year has been, like, for me, the music. The music for the Addams Family is a lot more difficult than anything else we've ever done. And, like, I feel like we've definitely had to put a lot of time and effort into it. And, yeah, but I love all the music for the Addams Family.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising for me looking at it and seeing how many dynamics there were. It was like they barely even touched the music. It's insane. Trey, this is your first musical. I know you went and saw Grease last year, and I saw you at Broadway and Song, but how has this experience in the drama club and being this character, how has that changed you? How do you feel about being that character, and, like, what has this musical season given to you?
Honestly, given me things, like singing. Honestly, I wasn't very confident at first because I knew I could kind of sing, but I feel like this has given me more confidence in singing and stuff like that, and, like, acting more.
Yeah, another big difference is now that we included the middle schoolers. It's been really interesting to, like, incorporate them into our practices, and especially with, like, the music side of it, like I said about the music being really difficult, having, like, such a big group of people learning music with all the different parts. It's been really difficult but really fun. Like, seeing it all put together and, like, starting to come together now is really cool.
Yeah, we have 37 cast and crew members. I think that was the last thing that Mr. Holmes said, that we have 37 cast and crew members. That is a huge jump up from last year,
yeah.
where we could barely scrape together 5 guys.
Yeah.
It felt like we could barely scrape together 5 guys for the Burger Palace Boys. So it's been so different, and honestly, with the middle schoolers, I feel kind of like the connection that I had with the original group of Charlie Brown when I came to the drama club. It's always been, you look up, you're the little kid, you don't feel at home, and then your first show, man, that's your home. It's drama club's been my home since Jay and Stin and Wilson all brought me in together. Yeah, shout out to those guys. Those guys are pretty cool.
Having, like, the middle schoolers there, I feel like, I mean, not that I didn't respect them before, but I feel like I show a lot of respect to them because, like, I mean, they're the future of drama club, and, like, I can tell that a lot of them are really dedicated and really want to do it, and I know, like, when I was in middle school, I didn't have the same opportunity, and it would have been great to have that, but I just want to, like, show them what they can get into and, like, why they should do it.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to, because Mr. Holmes, he's my dad. So I was able to be a backstage hand in 6th grade. I was able to be an ensemble member in 7th grade. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I've been in the same amount of shows as some of the seniors. So it's insane to think, hey, when these seniors go, I've been in more shows than anybody.
Yeah. And I'm glad that, like, we offer that opportunity. Like, Trey being one of the Addams family in 8th grade, and, like, you last year being one of the Burger Palace Boys as an 8th grader as well. It's just, like, really good opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, man. You being able to get, I know when everybody auditioned, it was like every middle schooler was like, I want to be Pugsley. Because, oh my goodness, Pugsley is so funny. You guys will get to see that. But Pugsley is so funny. And seeing the different things and watching you grow is super cool. Like, it's like another Big Brother moment. Like, man, Jay was mine. It's super cool to be able to influence the next generation of drama club. But yeah. So I talked to you about the best parts of your character. So what's the hardest thing to do? So, like, your characters, you're the Addams family, man, you're kooky. What is the hardest thing when it comes to the Addams family?
I feel like in with Wednesday, she has a lot of different. She's going through a lot of different emotions and a lot of different changes from the beginning of the show until the end. And so I think like the hardest thing has just been making sure that I like showcase those emotions and like do it justice, I guess, so people understand like how she's feeling and like how she's changing throughout the musical.
Yeah, Trey, what about you? What's the hardest thing your character, or something that your character does? What's the hardest thing that you've had trouble doing?
I would say one of the hardest, I'd say one of the hardest things is perfecting the scream.
Yeah.
Pugsley has a very, he has a pretty crazy scream.
Yeah.
And Trey's been trying.
Yeah, we're not going to disclose some of this, but we've had some pretty funny moments with Pugsley's scream. But yeah, honestly, no, this isn't all about me, and I don't want that to be. But honestly, the hardest thing about Lucas is trying to not make him sarcastic, not trying to make him cocky, because he really isn't. He's a normal kid, and I'm trying not to make him sunny, because that's one of the hardest things. I'm so used to being sunny that I'll look at Lucas and I'll look at a line and it's instantly what Sonny would say. And I think that's honestly the hardest part.
Another hard part I realized for me is like breaking character this year has been really hard, because I realized that I'm just like friends with everybody and everybody's always having a good time and making me laugh, that sometimes Riley will just say a line and I just break character like and start laughing, and I don't know why, I just can't
Sometimes
help it.
you break character with your own lines.
Yeah, I do. I've had a really hard time with that, but I mean it just shows that I'm having a good time, I guess, but it's definitely been tough.
So we've had our choreography sessions. We've choreographed some things. Are you excited about the choreography? Like I got a ton of mixed emotions watching you guys, because the first song I wasn't a part of. Mm-hmm. So I got a ton of mixed emotions watching you guys. There was a lot of watching and good listening, and I love seeing that.
I think the number that we have choreographed is definitely a more tougher one. I think that I love our choreographer this year. She's amazing. The choreography is great. I love it. But it definitely makes you sweat, and it's definitely hard work that I hope everybody puts in the work, and because it's going to look amazing. Even just from the 1 4-hour practice that we had, like, it was amazing. Like, I watched back the video, and, I mean, minus, like, the little mistakes, everybody looked so good.
Yeah, and it's crazy going from a 2-hour choreography session last year with Kara. It was, wow, it's crazy going to 4 hours.
Yeah,
you
Kara
double
was an amazing choreographer, but this year we stepped it up definitely. But I'm glad. I'm glad for I'm excited for the challenge.
Yeah, Trey, this was your first choreography session, especially as an Addams. How'd you feel, man?
I'd say most of the time I was kind of confused, because I'm not really built for dancing. So I'm like,
yeah.
That's the good thing about like the veterans of drama club, like the older. We've been through it, and like a lot of us are in like pops, and we dance in pops as well. So like we've been able to help like the middle schoolers, because I know a lot of them were struggling with the choreography, but having access to it like online with Mr. Holmes putting it on there for us, like having the older people be able to help the younger people, and even some of the younger people help the older ones, like it's been really, really fun.
Yeah. Shout out to Mrs. Abby Christine doing all our choreography. Thank you a lot. It's a heck of a choreography. I can't wait for our next session. But man, the music is a lot. The music, we have a song together. Puggles, you have a couple songs. I cameo in a couple songs. But seriously, what's the music like? We've already talked about how like it's very not necessarily adult, but it's like it's complicated. Yeah, it's a step up from.
Yeah. Miss Petrarca was telling us about how this is a really it's really intricate and complicated for like a high school like choir and drama and all of them to do. So it's like, it's been tough, but I love all the music. I don't think there's one song that I can say that I'm not a fan of or I don't like. I love all the ensemble ones with like everybody. I think it's so cool to have like all the different voices in it. And also most of the songs showcase like multiple people. Like we have a duet, and I know one of my songs have like a ton of people that sing in it, and it's just like cool to have different people be a part of it.
Yeah.
I kind of think it also shows like a lot of emotion in some sort of way. It's very out there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the Addams family are a very emotional group. They're a very emotional family. Like you have Gomez, he loves his family very much. And Wednesday is finding all these new different emotions, and Pugsley is kind of feeling left out, and he's kind of just pushed. But see what I did there? Yeah. But he's kind of, everybody is having all these feelings, and then you throw in a whole nother family that's very Wall Street, very like relaxed. They're used to their kind of like copy and paste kind of life. But yeah, I think it's a very emotional show, and honestly, being able to be a part of it it's super cool. I get to connect with a lot of people I love.
One of another thing about the music, like one of Gomez's songs, for example, I think, in my opinion, like whenever he was out there doing it, I thought it was like, it's like a funny song, more lighthearted. And then the other day we were doing a scene, and he was singing one of the songs, and I was like, wow, that kind of hit hard. And I low-key was like, maybe I'm like gonna cry. Like it hits hard.
Yeah.
So like it's like really different. Like all the music is very different and like showcases a lot of different emotions, like he said.
Yeah. What do you think with the different like emotions and different things that this show showcases?
I mean, that can affect on the difficulty of it, of, like she had said earlier, the different emotions, you kind of get into, like, different kind of mood. And
yeah. But one of the things with the different songs and how they're portrayed, I think it's a good way with the staging that Mr. Holmes is doing and the choreography that Abby's doing. It's an ability to give the public a great show. It gives you guys, especially, a great show that you're able to connect with, and you see a ton of these familiar faces, Grandma, Uncle Fester, Lurch, and you get to see them in a whole new twisted environment that you're able to see everything, and they are the same characters, but they're going through a whole different thing. And when Mr. Holmes said, "Oh, we're doing Addams Family," instantly I thought of the 90s movies where Uncle Fester, he loses his memory. And then the next one, Wednesday and Pugsley go to a summer camp. I instantly thought of that, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so cool.
I was saying earlier about like Wednesday, how you'll see in this musical is a very different version of Wednesday than people are used to. And I think that going into preparing for Wednesday, that was something that like I had to look at, because it wasn't just your stereotypical Wednesday. There's a lot more like to her in this musical, and I think that's also just really cool because it's been fun to play her in a different way than people would expect.
Yeah, I also get a lot when talking to the community and talking to the people at church or stuff, when they ask me about updates and stuff, said, oh yeah, it's really cool, and I'll talk to them about how I'm doing, or I really like this, and they connect it to the show, the Netflix show Wednesday, or they'll connect it to the old 60s TV show, the original. And it'll be so neat, especially if we get somebody walking into the auditorium for a band concert and they're sitting in the seats and they look up and they go, oh, wow. Or especially like us, like when I'm a senior, when you're a senior, walking in there, sitting down for graduation going, wow, remember when we did this? Yeah. Remember when I was talking about being Pugsley and the life of a 12-year-old being Pugsley.
It's going to be an amazing show because there's a lot of talented people, and Mr. Holmes has a lot of really cool ideas for special effects, and just everything that he has in store for us is amazing.
Yeah, we don't want to disclose too much, But yeah, it's going to be a really great show. Yeah, it's going to be a really cool show. Mr. Holmes, one of the great things he's doing, he's using how he felt in drama club. He's able to bring us all together as a family, no pun intended, but he's also bringing back something that Mrs. Harris didn't do for a while. He's bringing back a backstage. He's bringing back the stage crew, which, honestly, that's where I got my start. So it's going to be really cool seeing the different people that come in and they get a little taste of drama club, moving set pieces.
Yeah, it's going to be really helpful, and it's just, I know I talked to a lot of people when we were trying to recruit for drama club that didn't want to be on stage singing and acting and doing all that, but they would be more than willing to help out backstage, and I think I'm really glad that he opened that up as like an opportunity this year.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I got my ability and I got my love for drama club not only hearing the stories from my dad, but also being pushed and being kind of like, okay, here you got to move this set piece. And then in Charlie Brown, if somebody was missing, hop up and carry the bus with them. Like, it was these little tiny things that I got to be, and it was, but yeah, I'm really hoping you get those experiences too. So, back to our characters. Lydia, you have a younger brother. Mm-hmm. And he is around the age of Trey. Trey, you have some older sisters. How is that past experience kind of aided you guys with the connection between Wednesday and Pugsley, where torture is not only something fun that they do, but they enjoy it?
Yeah. Well, I think with my little brother, obviously with all siblings, you get into fights and you push each other around, pick on each other. I think me and Trey, honestly, even in real life, have kind of that dynamic. I think me being in 11th grade and him being in 8th grade, I kind of see him as a little younger brother kind of figure, and so it's been good for our characters because Wednesday and Luke and Pugsley are they have that dynamic. They have your brother and sister dynamic for sure.
And honestly, before you go, talking about the brother sister dynamic, I feel that as the play progresses, Lucas kind of comes in there, and even though he is kind of the wedge in between the relationship because he's the new guy, Pugsley doesn't like that. No. But he's the new guy, and he kind of has this relationship with Pugsley, and it ties in with his relationship with Wednesday. And I love how I'm talking about myself in the third person. But it's kind of integrated, and it builds my relationship, not only with you, Trey, but it helps me establish what I want for my character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it, like you said, it just adds more to the story because, I mean, you'll see with this show, there's so many different things happening, conflicts here and conflicts there, and, adding different dynamics with different characters is really cool. So.
Yeah, I feel like Lydia, it's not too much of a difference for me having an older type of sister. I mean,
and even off stage. I mean, backstage sometimes me and Trey are still basically in character because that's kind of how we are.
Yeah, there are tons of stories of the backstage, and honestly, I'm an older brother. I have a younger brother. Mm-hmm. Y'all both know that. Shout out to Declan. But anyway, it's kind of cool because with the 7th and 8th graders, I know some of them. Most of them I don't. But not only can they look at me as the director's son, but they can look at me and say, oh, he is experienced. We've seen him in 2 other shows. He knows what he's talking about. He is a good resource. And I want to be that mentor that not only Mrs. Harris was for me, but also a ton of other kids were. I remember there was always a debate which vocal range was I was a favorite of. And it would always go in between the basses and the sopranos. And man, it was always a fight between a couple of different people. And I still, oh my goodness, the countless memories in M1 and the auditorium.
Yeah, it's good being kind of like mentors or just helpers for the younger kids, because I've definitely gotten to know a couple of the middle schoolers like throughout the process and just helping them build their love for the show and just being in drama club has been nice.
Yeah, we can't. When you walk up to a drama club kid and you say, okay, well, why are you doing this? You're different than us. Why are you doing this? We're not going to say, oh, because that's just who I am. Yeah, it's who we are, but we're going to show you how much of a family we are. And it's super cool diving into the aspects of the Addams family where it is family first and it's family last. But that's who they are. It's all about family. But yeah, it's really cool where it's like, I don't know, it's really intertwined and it's really a family. And that speaks to me about what drama club is.
Yeah, I feel like...
Sorry, Trey, you can go.
It's fine. I feel like you don't get as much in other types of sports.
Yeah.
I mean, by doing this, we're always together in some sort of way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think another interesting thing is because everybody, at least maybe more the high schoolers, because we're still getting to know the middle schoolers, but most of the high school drama club are like a family. Like, we're all friends and we're all close to each other, so it's like it really helps like building characters and having those relationships with characters because we already are all like friends and we're already like family.
It is really cool because there's a ton of traditions that the Addams not the Addams family, that the drama club does, and we are a family. You look at us, you look at the football team, they have a prayer before every game. That's great, that builds character. But you look at what drama club does. Not to compare, that's like comparing apples to oranges. But you look at the camaraderie, not just who we are. Yes, we're putting on a play for the public. Yes, it takes a lot of guts and bravery to stand out in front of 1,000 people and be able to sing and speak from memory. But not only were we doing that, we're bonding with each other.
That's my favorite thing about drama club. I mean, if you've watched any of the other podcasts, I feel like everybody always says about the family and just like the bonds that you build with people. I think like last year in Greece, like, was just the beginning of it, and this year, like, I've really realized that I'm literally friends with like everybody. There's not one person I can say that I'm like, oh yeah, don't really talk to them, don't really like them. I think everybody's just close because we're all in it together and we're all here for the same thing. So it's just really, really fun to have that.
Yeah. How is it? I know you're just starting into this, Trey, but that family aspect that all of the veterans have, we've incorporated the younger kids into that too. How do you feel like it's one big family and we're all one big happy family and we all just...
I feel like, yeah, because I feel like if you were to walk up to anybody, you could have a conversation with them without being like, don't really like that person.
Yeah.
I think Trey's been pretty welcomed into drama club. Would you say, Trey?
Yeah.
I think everybody loves Trey. He's had a really ezy time fitting in.
He fits in, and especially with the love. We all it still tickles me pink. The first time I walked in, I was leaving, and everybody was like, bye. I'm like, bye, I love you guys. Just kind of like an outro thing. I didn't even catch myself. And that was the first time I heard Jay. Jay was like, yeah, man, love you too. And it was kind of like one of those things. I'm spewing my heart out on the podcast. Don't want to do that. Don't want to tell too much, man. This is going to be like a boo-hoo, poor me. But it was kind of one of those things where it solidified. It cemented my place into drama club.
It also, I think, like, the bonds and the friendships also really helped for auditions this year. I think compared to last year, I went into it like I had friends, but I wasn't as close with everybody, so I was a lot more nervous because, not that I didn't feel like I had support, but I had a lot more support this year, I think, because, I mean, all my friends were, like, also auditioning for Wednesday or could be possible candidates for Wednesday, and I knew that, but since they're my friends, you know, I supported them and they supported me, and we like helped each other through the audition process, so it was really good. And I think besides being really, really nervous, I think you're going to be no matter what, it was really nice to have all that support, because I remember, like, after doing my song and after readings, I came off the stage to people saying, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing, like,
Yeah.
you're so good," and I'm like, just this constant support is amazing.
Yeah, it's honestly the constant support. It's not just a club. Most people will look at a club and say, "Oh, it's just a club. I enjoy being there." No, but when you join drama club, not only is it a club, it's your place. It's your family. You are truly loved and supported there. But yeah, I'll always, yeah, there are a ton of memories. But yeah, so come to the musical, the Addams Family School Edition, April 4th and 5th at 7 o'clock. $10 general admission. You can get them in the high school main office.
Be there.
All right? Yeah, be there. Really great show, really great cast. All right. I will see you guys next time.